Hi, Cancer. Welcome to your February 2016 love reading. It's Rena here. So, the month begins with Venus in Capricorn, and Capricorn is your opposite sign. So, that means it will be in the seventh house of long term relationships, commitments in a romantic relationship. So, some of you may be wanting to get engaged or get hitched. And it is February. I think it would be awesome to get married in February, actually, if you're going to get married at all. And cancers usually do like to put a ring on it and not just live together, just because they tend to be traditionalists and do things by the book. And then on the 17th of February, we have Venus moving into your eighth house in the sign of Aquarius. In the eighth house, it gets really deep and it's all about intimacy in terms of the relationship versus just the pomp and circumstance of a wedding. And so, for those of you who do decide to make a commitment, you may be exploring intimacy issues later on in the month. So, I picked some cards for you, and the first card I picked describes the current state of affairs for you, and it is the Seven of Cups in reverse. Now, in the upright position, the Seven of Cups can indicate somebody who has to make a choice, but they have many options. So there's a bit of confusion of what is the right choice to make. And in the reverse position, the person may have finally made a decision, and this is because they're seeing things clearly. Now, I did pick a card to kind of describe why you're seeing things clearly now. And I got the Eight of Pentacles. And it's so bizarre, but I've been picking this card over and over again in different spots for these readings. I've been actually picking a lot of Pentacles altogether for different signs. And Pentacles relate to Earth signs, but they also relate to basic material concerns. And in a love reading, that can seem rather perplexing. The only thing I can say about that is that possibly people are consumed by thoughts of their finances, and that may be affecting their relationships. But in this context, I think that the Eight of Pentacles, which is a card of the craftsman hard at work at his craft, may be suggesting that some of you have been trying to work on your marriage. And you maybe went to couples therapy, and it was a very enlightening experience. And now you might see things a whole lot differently and a whole lot more clearly. And some of you, it may be that you decide to call it quits, and some of you may decide to hang in there. The higher perspective is the Seven of Wands. And so this is somebody who must defend himself or herself. And Cancer is a sign that sometimes I personally think is not assertive enough, even though it's a cardinal sign and it can definitely take action when need be. Because it is a feminine sign, it tends to be passive in a certain way. Cancer people can struggle sometimes with lack of self confidence. And when they are hurt, they can crawl into their shells to protect themselves. But then that makes them a little bit too vulnerable to live in the real world sometimes because, you know, if you cower in the face of aggression, then you never really stand up for yourself. And so maybe that was something that you had to learn in marriage counseling, or maybe you learned it in a different setting. But some of you are willing to be more assertive in order to get your needs met. And some of you may just be leaving the relationship, and that is your assertion, is that you're going to actually leave an unpleasant situation. And Again, because you're a cardinal sign, you are capable of taking that action. Unlike, let's say, a Taurus person who might get stuck in a rut and not want to change things, a Cancer person is capable of taking appropriate action. The only thing that might stop you is sympathy for the other person. Being a water sign, you have the ability to kind of tap into how other people feel, and this can help you, but sometimes be to your detriment when you allow sympathy for people who are being asshats to override your own need for self protection. How do you like that sentence? So anyway, I'm covering all the bases. I realize that. Obviously, this is a general reading, and not all of you are going through the same stuff right now. If you'd like a personalized reading, which incorporates your birth data, just click on the link below for a list of my services. Otherwise, I think that a lot of people are getting the memo that life is too short to spend unhappy, and they're not willing to tolerate bad behavior. So the advice is a Six of Cups. And this is a card that I really associate with Cancer specifically. And the reason for that, not just because cups relate to the water signs, but Cancer loves nostalgia. You guys love the past. One of the things that can happen to Cancers is that they can tend to live in the past and not want to see things as they are right now. The good old days, they called them. And it's wonderful to reminisce and think about fond memories as long as you're realistic about them and you don't glamorize the past to the exclusion of the present. But I think some of you need to kind of recapture that simplicity in life. Maybe something went awry along the way, especially if you got involved in a toxic relationship. Because the Six of Cups is about relationships, but it's about the purity, the innocence of relationships. And as we get older and we have more and more experiences, we can get jaded by some of the more negative experiences that we go through. And when people get too jaded, they become bitter. And you guys are not necessarily a sign that I would associate with bitterness per se, but you can become very wary of intimate relationships if you've been stung in the past. And obviously, if you live in the past in a negative way, you can create resistance to wonderful relationships that are in your life right now and not allow them to flourish. So you want to allow yourself to open up to relationships in an innocent sort of way without the preconceived notions that come from being burned by others. The card that crosses you is the Seven of Swords. And I don't know if you've been keeping score, but that's three sevens in this reading. Very interesting numerologically because I had three sevens, two sixes, and one eight. So none of these cards were major arcana. So I think that for some of you, this may be kind of a normal month. Maybe nothing significant happens. And sometimes no news is good news, actually. But the Seven of Swords is a sketchy card sometimes. It can warn you against somebody that is trying to steal from you. In this context, it might mean that, let's say you are going to get divorced. You have to be careful that the other party isn't plotting and scheming to strip you of some of your assets. Or maybe if you were trying to work on your marriage, there may be still some things going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of. And this card is saying, don't just assume that everything is above board. just because you thought you'd worked it out. There are many possibilities. I also think that this may be an obstacle card in the sense that if you're in a difficult situation that you're trying to extricate yourself from, you may have to utilize down low tactics in order to get away from this person. And this card may just be saying that it's not necessarily going to be that easy to employ those tactics because maybe that person is a very obsessive person. Maybe they're very controlling and they can kind of censor every move. I always, think of Sleeping with the Enemy. If you've ever seen that movie with Julia Roberts, that guy is so scary. And, her husband, who's like a total psycho. So hopefully you're not involved with somebody like that, but just your garden variety control freak, obsessive, hopefully not stalkerish kind of ex, but somebody that you need to be very delicate about when you're trying to get away. And the outcome is a Six of Wands, a wonderful card to end the reading because it's a card of victory. So, again, some of you may be deciding to stay in the relationship. So, you will overcome whatever challenges brought you to the marriage counselor, or maybe it's not officially a marriage counselor. Maybe you went to your minister. Maybe you, I don't know, did something that took a class, got some Reiki. I don't know. But whatever you did, some of you may find that it's helpful and you will stay with that person, but you will grow a pair, even if you're a female, and defend yourself. And as well, actually, it's more like asserting yourself. That's really what a lot of people have to do because it's easy to play the victim and act like, yes, this person did this, that, and the other thing. And maybe you can make a great case to everybody in your social circle that this person did you wrong. But usually, when you look deeply into those types of relationships, the person who is supposedly the victim is also something of a doormat. They accept crap from the other person. And we really teach people how to treat us. If you accept crap from people, then expect crap. It doesn't make them right, but it sure as hell doesn't make you right either, because you have to honor yourself. And, honoring yourself isn't crawling into a hole and, sulking or feeling sorry for yourself. It's stating what you believe you deserve, whether or not the other person is receptive to it. And so, whatever this victory means for you, it's still a very positive way to end the reading. And I hope that you enjoyed this, Cancer. Again, if you'd like a personalized reading, just click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great February. Bye.